Welcome everybody to the next episode of View from the Pen with myself, Frank and Warren. We have a special guest today, which is someone you may all well know, John Coventry, the most successful East Thurrock manager there was. We're going to talk a little bit about different things, but you'll soon see. We'll get going. So, John, evening, mate.
Good evening.
Evening, John.
Good evening,
All right, mate.
everybody. Yeah, all good.
We'll start off with the horrible stuff, which was last Saturday. So just give us your thoughts on the game, really.
I know we spoke about it a little bit last night regarding the levels of the opposition that we're up against. And that was one of the teams that we was referring to that are a different level to us. And it was always going to be a difficult game to try and get into it, really. They just had bigger, better, stronger players with more savvy, a little bit, a lot more football ideas than us. And so really the result, looking back on it now, that didn't surprise me. At the beginning of the game, you start to think, well, we've done all right recently. Let's see what this lot are like. Conceding a goal in the first 2 minutes is probably not ideal, but you could tell straight away that they were a lot more experienced and had a lot more idea of what to do.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I'd say the first half, I thought, obviously, it was individual errors, lapse of concentration, stuff like that. Obviously, why we conceded in the first half. And I thought at half time, even though we were losing, I didn't think we were being outplayed or anything like that. Yeah, they were better in stages and stuff. But then obviously the second half, I just think players just switched off. Some of them eventually just gave up what it looked like. That was my opinion on the game.
Yeah, I can understand that. People that have been listening to me recently would sort of know that my pet hate at the moment is people switching off. How you instill that, how you coach that, I haven't got a clue, because it's really one of them things that separates the level of a footballer. If you're switching off, you're not going to be the same level as somebody that doesn't switch off. And, and that was definitely the case in that game. If you actually looked at the tactical side of it, where they was very effective was our back four, in my opinion, were too high, too early, which allows a lot of space in behind them. And the big lad thrived on that. One ball over the top and they was getting in quite regular. It's something where, that will be addressed again tomorrow night in training. It's difficult because, we haven't got that calibre of player. So we have to show them as much as we can and then hope.
Yeah, I think, like I said at the owners' meeting last night, one thing I noticed from the difference between the White Notley game and last night, obviously I know level of opposition makes a massive difference, but in the White Notley game, they were shouting, talking, screaming, arguing at some points, which was good. And then in that game, it seemed to just go. So perhaps, hopefully that comes back.
I think that's a confidence thing, I think, you go back to, like, as you say, the previous game, they would have gained confidence from, and I'll be honest, I do the same. I look at the game in the first 10 minutes and I think we've got a chance here because I'm looking at the opposition. I didn't feel that on Saturday, because you looked at the opposition, they looked better equipped than us across the park. So, and I think players do that, the same thing, and whether that's right or wrong, they are looking and they are, if you're looking, let's look, for example, someone like Owen, who's been brilliant for us, but then all of a sudden he's up against, say, quite a clever right back that's not going to allow Owen to have the freedom. So, and then that went across the park, really. It was just 11 v 11. I think if you sort of match them all up, I don't think we win any of the battles.
Yeah.
I think it's an age thing as well, isn't it? I think it's an age thing. So in terms of what we was just talking about, talking to each other, leading, it's easy to lead when you're 2-0 up. It's very difficult to start leading when you're 3-0 down, you know. And I think that comes with experience and also personality. You've either got it or you haven't. And I think we're short a little bit of, you know, but hopefully they grow into it because they're all young lads. So I'm hoping that they start to find their voice with each other. I know you said it last night, John. It's important, you know. Not is it the manager that holds you to account, not is it the fan that holds you to account. It's each other. You know, that's where it comes from, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, as I said last night, I totally agree with that. That's the way it should be. But how do you get sort of push that forward?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's going to take time, isn't it?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we can't forget as well that the players have all come together in this first season. Like they were like the other teams we played, they've been we don't know how many years they've been playing together, but yeah, our boys literally just all come up. They've got to learn that chemistry and how each other plays and stuff. Can't forget that.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
Hopefully next week they make up for it. So we'll move on. So the reason we invited John onto this show today is because it's the 10-year anniversary of East Thurrock getting into the FA Cup first round for the second time, John, I believe, with Macclesfield.
Yeah, second time. Yeah.
So 10-year anniversary. I was on the coach. Warren was on the coach. I don't think Warren remembers much of it, to be honest. But
I don't remember anything, mate. I'll be honest. I don't. All I know is I went. That's it.
So,
did you come back?
Yeah.
Luckily. It's a long bloody way. Put it that way. So yeah, John, if you could have you got any? How was that day? How was the day before? What was it like?
Well, I mean, we were fortunate enough that was our second time to get into that stage of the FA Cup, which was obviously brilliant. So we knew a lot of the things what to experience. It was slightly different with the Macclesfield game because it was at home. And we had to deal with things like television cameras, television crew. So that was slightly different. But going away, as I say, was different. But in lots of ways, it was quite enjoyable because we did different things. Like, first of all, we've got to get transport there. We're used to getting coaches to go to games. But for this game, we was fortunate. I'm tried really hard to think who the contact was, but we actually hired the West Ham United coach to take us. I've got a feeling Joe Keefe might have had something to do with that because he was a connection at West Ham, but my memory's never been good. But the fact that, we had the West Ham United car, I think there was more microwaves on it than there was seats. Yeah, and that was brilliant. Obviously, the registration number, WHU, something. That was good.
That's a shame.
It's, I mean, everybody was buzzing. Everybody was excited. We went up there with the intentions of staying overnight. We went up on the Friday. We stopped a couple of times on the way up because that's a bit of a trip, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Obviously, the hotel was booked. We had an arrangement. We was once again fortunate, and going back to Joe Keefe, who had an input in the sense of Joe was a pro. Joe was a pro at Colchester, and at the time, I think I'm right in saying that Phil Parkinson was at Colchester with Joe. But at this time was manager of Bradford City. Joe got in contact and arranged that at some stage going up there, could we stop off and train at a training venue. And this was where Bradford City was. So we was allowed to, I think to start with, share the it was an Astro, I'm pretty sure, share the facility. And then in the end, I think we had time on it for ourselves. So that was brilliant. That all added to it. I think then I don't know if that was the day of the game or I think it was probably the day before the game on the way up there. After that, and the other connection with that training facility was that Bradford City had a player called Billy Knott at the time. It was Sammy Knott's brother. Yeah. So, there was a connection there. So it made us all feel quite at home, really. That then took us to the hotel where obviously that's going to be chaos when you've got about 20 players, sort of charging around basically from room to room and things like that. So, but that's what they did, and it was quite exciting for them. We decided as a management team, me, Jay, or Debs and Joe, we'd already done loads of prep, like team formation, as much analysis as we could get hold of regarding hartlepool. And we decided that we would, at some stage in the afternoon, the first afternoon we got up there, was to deliver some information to players regarding their performance and what we expected for the following day. We did that. We had a briefing room where we could use, and we had, I think we had like slides going up on screens and things like that, because we gathered a lot of information. And then obviously it's getting a bit later, and we're trying hard to make sure that nobody, like player-wise, was anywhere near the bar.
Did you manage it?
Well, we definitely didn't see any players near the bar, but it might be because the three of us, the staff, did get near the bar. I think Debs and Joe was on bottles of wine. I think, or a bottle of wine. Perhaps I'm exaggerating. But also at the hotel that night, which we didn't know till we got there, Bournemouth were playing up in the north, east, west, whatever it was. They were playing up there as well. So we had Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall, the management team there.
Jesus.
In the same room, just sort of off of our lounge bit, sitting there doing their prep for their game. Theirs looked a lot more professional than ours, if I'm being honest.
Did they offer you any advice?
Did we offer them, or did they offer
did they offer you?
No, I didn't think they wanted to talk to us, to be fair. But I don't think it helped the fact that we then got to a stage where one of our players, or one of the people that was in the squad, was running around the hotel in a onesie. I think that took the concentration from Bournemouth's prep. It was two players not on the coach because they couldn't get out of work early enough. Was that not that game? Oh, sorry, it's a different game. No, everybody was there. Forget that. I'm not just going to crucify someone, but so it was brilliant. I mean, to have them facilities where you can, for a day or two, you can be as professional as you want to be. Really.
How did the players? Did they thrive on it, or was they nervous? Was there a bit of both? How did you think?
Probably a bit of both. I mean, some of them were young as well, but
I think you had Tom Anderson there, didn't you?
Tommy came up.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people like, Mitchell Gilby, he was still young then. We had David Hughes in goal. He was youngish.
Cool. What a game he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a blinder, didn't he?
Yeah, well, we can go on to that. But we haven't got to the ground yet. Give me a chance. Obviously, we left the hotel at a certain time, enough time to get us to the ground. And that was quite a rush, because as we pulled up outside, which was really brilliant, and a lot of the people that was in our room last night at the meeting were there at the ground waiting for us to pull up in the coach, and there was a big crowd of them all cheering, which was fantastic. And as we all got off the coach, there they was, and I thought that was a great touch. They all made their own way and things like that. But at the time, there was a broadcaster waiting to meet us off the coach, who wanted to talk to me, to say to me that there was a time slot that Radio 5 Live wanted to do an interview with me, and we had about 3 minutes to get off the coach into the ground, and obviously where it was being done was right across the other side at the top of their stand. So we had to leg it, and I think, well, we did get there. So I did an interview just before the game, and then we go into change rooms and we prepare, and then we come out and then we play. the game started okay. It was good. We was all right. We settled down quite quickly, I thought. We hit the post. Mitchell Gilby hit the post. But then bit by bit, they're a full-time outfit, and you could see that, I don't think we ever sat there on that day thinking we're going to nick this. I don't think it was like that, because David Hughes was quite busy, as you or someone there recognised that. David Hughes was man of the match. He got the man of the match award. He actually, which was brilliant, got awarded with a really nice watch for his man of the match performance. Yeah, it was really good.
That's good.
Once the game was finished and we went in the bar, honestly, the Hartlepool supporters were brilliant. It was like one big party. Everybody joined in. They loved us. And by the time we finished there, we loved them. Yeah, really good.
I do vaguely remember being in that bar, vaguely.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you haven't got over it yet? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, no. So, things like that are special. You don't often get the opportunity as a non-league club to play in the first round proper, but then again, we did it twice. So,
And how much do you think a good cup run matters to? What does it do to the club? Them 2 cup runs. What does it? Because they say it transforms non-league clubs. Is that true? Is that
what you're talking financially?
Financially, yeah.
I think. Well, if I can, going off the off Hartlepool game for starters, the first game at home to Macclesfield, that's what you want. You want a home game, not necessarily because you're going to get a full house, which you would, but obviously at Rookery Hill was a full house, probably 3,000. So you're not going to get mega bucks out of that. You get a percentage when you go away out of the crowd. But if I go back to that Macclesfield game at home, we was sitting there really, really looking to get the main game on Match of the Day, because that's what we was told potentially we would. It all depended. There was a game going on in Wales where it could possibly be off, and if it was, they'd switch and we become the live game. That's worth a lot of money. Yeah. That was going to be worth 70 odd grand to us. So you can guess how much we were sitting there praying that the other one would be called off. I think we got in the regions of about 17 grand for highlights, which, still a lot of money for a club like us. So, yeah, financially, it was rewarding. We were selling stuff. We had loads of scarves and memorabilia and hats and all that at that game to sell. And that's where the non-league clubs can, earn a few quid, really. With the Hartlepool game, going back to that, obviously you get a percentage afterwards, but you've already laid out a lot of money. Yeah. For the coach, for the travel, for the overnight stay, but even if you've got no money, I don't think any non-league players would swap it, It's what you want.
About the day, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you say, John, that's probably what in your career manager as a coach, that is one of your proudest moments, getting the team to the first round of the FA Cup?
Yeah, a lot of clubs would love that opportunity, and as I say, we had it twice. Yeah, I was proud, but I always like to remember. I was the manager at the time, but that was a proper joint effort, not just from the players, but the management staff. There was always, whatever I did was always with Devs and Joe, and I always want to give them as much credit as for me, whatever. But yeah, it's something that I love talking about it because it just brings it all back, and there's not many managers in non-league that would have had that opportunity, and I'm just grateful that I did. Yeah.
Days out in it, days out to the fans, days out to the club. That's what matters the most, to be honest. People go on about winning and that, but to be honest, it's the event.
I think that's what's changed, isn't it, amongst youngsters now. I don't think they appreciate the beauty of the FA Cup. You know, them early rounds where, like you said, you know, you left best mates with Hartlepool fans and things like that.
Yeah.
Not no top tier football. You can never do that, really.
No,
You know what I mean?
no,
It's
you're right.
always more about trouble and rivalry. The beauty of the FA Cup and why the older generation love it, and I don't think the younger generation appreciate what a wonderful
No,
competition it
you're
is
definitely
for
right. Yeah,
non-league
I
teams.
agree.
And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
So,
because
John,
even this week we've had rounds, haven't we? And there's been some shocks, and there's been some non-league clubs
Yeah,
get
yeah,
through and that. So it's just
yeah,
great for
exactly.
financially, you know. It
Yeah.
really
Oh,
is.
definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, I think was it Kettering Town knocked out someone Northampton, I think this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With the local derby as well, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously moving on a little bit, but there's probably going to be a lot of players from that game included in this. We're wondering if you could name your five-a-side team, John, of the players you've managed.
Over the years, okay. Oh, I'm going to upset a hell of a lot of people. Right. I think, I mean, we've already spoke about David Hughes. He's had enough publicity. I think if I would go for towards the end of like East Thurrock's reign, we was fortunate to have Jack Giddins, who is a top goalkeeper and top lad.
Is he a Billericay?
He had been, but yeah, he was with us. He was with us. He was also with Bishop Stalford.
Is he still playing? Is he still playing?
He's a hashtag.
Oh, hashtag. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is he a hashtag? Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, he's a hashtag. Yeah, yeah. Once again, see, there's the Joe and the Devs connection. So you'll find a lot of players like crossover really. So yeah, I'll put him in goal. I'm going to go back some years now, and I'm going right back early doors for to a defender, and that would be Ben Wood. Now, Ben Wood, if I'm being honest, wasn't ideally equipped for five-a-side because he wasn't the quickest. But when we talk about football brains, he was always, he was like the Bobby Moore of non-league football, basically. You know, wasn't the quickest, but had a brain that always got him there and got people out of trouble. So I would include him in that. After that, I'm looking at, I suppose I better go straight up top, really. I think you can work out that one, can't you?
Yeah, I watched your interview today and I thought it was brilliant, to be fair. You and Jono, I thought that was good.
Yeah, good. Cheers.
Really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Yeah, very good.
I mean, going off subject, I enjoyed being able to pay them tributes to Igor, you know? I mean, everybody that's played for me will now be sitting at home thinking, oh, typical Covo. There's his like prodigal son, Igor, but let him do it. Yeah, so I'd have him go up top. Now I've got to pick now two more players. Now I'm looking at somebody like Mitchell Gilby, that low centre of gravity in a five-a-side team. I'm still talking about tactics now, and I've gone sort of that way. I think that would be highly suited for somebody like him. And I think I could go Lewis Smith, but he chops so much. He just gets the ball and chops and chops and chops. No, I'm going to go for Lewis Smith. I'm going to go for Lewis Smith because I think the one thing that we would do within that five, we would have a lot of possession of the ball.
Yeah, he was a good player. Really good player.
Yeah, he was. So, is that five or is it only four?
That's five.
I think that's four. Is it?
So Giddins,
Wood,
Ben Wood,
Smith,
Mitchell Gilby, and Sammy
Gilby, and Sam Higgins.
Oh yeah. Can't do my math.
I love the way you can't take the compare out of you, John. You're still doing the tactics, wondering if a team would win, not just your favourites.
Exactly.
John,
I'm trying to picture it, but
John, if you could pick one player that you've managed over and over again, like just one player, who would you pick?
If I could pick him over and over again.
Yeah, like so no matter what team you managed, or you would want that one player in your team.
I think the other people know the answer to that.
Yeah, still you go, yeah.
Yeah, I might fancy someone who can deliver like 300 goals a season. Yes. Yeah, funny enough. Yeah,
But John,
I
is it
mean,
it's got to be the hardest thing in football management, isn't it? It's got to be the hardest position, and it's centre forward. It's got to be the rarest and hardest to get hold of, isn't it?
yeah, and it's
And
a
they
little
cost
way
the
no
money.
different. It's yeah, exactly that. I was just about to say that. You know, it's no
Yeah.
different to the pro game. That's where the money goes. You know, I mean, Ego was on a tenner
Yeah.
every week.
I will quickly tell you. So Steve Edwards, obviously, you know, is a long time East Thurrock fan. He also gave me his five-a-side team.
Right.
So I'll quickly read it off to you. There's a few that you mentioned the same. So Igo, obviously, Gids, Tom Wright.
Yeah, right. He was. Yeah, I can see that because I actually mentioned Righty, I think, in the Higo thing.
Yeah.
Because Higo, certain players over the years, Higo preferred to play with because once, for one, he knew that he was going to get service.
Yeah.
And Tom Wright would provide service.
And then he went Ben Wood. Same.
Did he? Blimey.
Yes. And one that might surprise you a little bit, Kane Ferdinand.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me because Kane
It was a short period, wasn't it?
It was a short period. He was a top player who went on to better things, and he was a great lad as well. So no, I've got no problems with that. I understand that. There's some logic there.
Yeah.
Who's
Right. So
his goalie, Jace?
Sorry?
Same, Gids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap that up now. Cheers for coming on, John.
Yeah, cheers, John, mate.
No
thank you,
problem at
John.
all.
Obviously, talking of cup runs, I know it's not the FA Cup, but we have got a cup game next week, and there's no better way of saying sorry about 6-1 loss than winning in the cup. So everyone get down there, support the team, and you never know what's going to happen. One thing I have got to mention, this episode was sponsored by the Mobile Foot Health Clinic, one of our sponsors, so thank you very much. Yeah, cheers for tuning in.
Oh, brilliant. Good. My battery's gone, so...